New this morning, 3 dead and a 4th in critical condition. The State Patrol is investigating a deadly crash in central Minnesota between a semi and an SUV. Troopers say it happened yesterday afternoon at a highway intersection in Candiota County near Wilmer. 3 people in the SUV were killed. A 4th was airlifted to St. Cloud with life-threatening injuries. All 4 are from Missouri, and the 3 who died appear to be related. The driver of the semi was not seriously hurt. Police say a woman was being held against her will overnight and then managed to escape after the suspect threatened to kill her. That man then barricaded himself inside an apartment with a knife and a gun. Authorities had to use a robot to bring him a phone to establish contact. Around 2 yesterday afternoon, Garnica tried to run with a large knife but went back into the apartment after being hit with several rounds from a less than lethal beanbag shotgun. 2 hours later, police used tear gas and pepper spray to get him to surrender. Garnica and several officers were then treated for exposure to the gas, and Garnica was taken to a medical center for treatment for minor injuries. That case is now being forwarded to the Stutsman County State's Attorney's Office for formal charges. Now, and that's all related to a man who is in custody after an hours-long standoff with police in Jamestown. Nearby homes and daycare had to be evacuated during that time. You heard it right there. Gunshots inside the Mall of America in Bloomington, Minnesota. That happened last night and people had to run for their lives. The mall was in lockdown for several hours before shutting down for the night. Police confirmed they did not find any victims in that shooting after 2 groups started fighting at the Nike store. One group left but then turned around and fired into the store. Police say no one is in custody yet and the mall will reopen today with increased security. 6:53. Let's get a check of your forecast. It's a first alert weather day. A lot you have to go over today, Lisa.
Yeah, sure is. We're talking about heat to start the day. In fact, most of the day it's going to be hot and muggy, and storms that could turn severe heading into later tonight. We even have some storms that are hitting parts of the valley this morning. Not severe, but still impactful for your morning drive. So let's take a look at your radar. Quiet for most areas, but you can see that rain and lots of lightning up in that northwestern corner of our viewing area in Towner County. Zooming in on this area, Rock Lake down to Candu. That's an area where you're going to have to deal with some heavy rain right now. So maybe let that pass, especially since it has some plenty of lightning associated with it. It's going to be moving to the east, so Langdon, Edmore areas, you're going to want to watch out for that potential for some rain here over the next couple of hours. It's later tonight that we have that threat for severe weather as that front moves eastward. And we're looking at places like Fargo, Lakes Country up toward the Bemidji area. Yes, Sioux Pass Ranch around Detroit Lakes. Festers could see some severe weather later on this evening, so have ways to stay alerted and let your friends out there know as well. And then the heat advisory taking effect this afternoon in southeastern North Dakota. We're looking at heat index values that could be 100 plus in those areas. Quick look at your forecast for today for Fargo. Getting in well into the 90s. We'll see some passing clouds with some sun and windy weather too. Hot wind out of the south, plus that storm chance. So there is a lot to go over for today, and we'll continue to monitor things for you and keep you updated on our Valley News Live weather app throughout the day. Quick look at the weekend, much cooler. A great tool to stay safe out there. Lisa, thank you this morning. An elderly man is hurt in a crash in Ottertail County, Minnesota. The State Patrol says 76-year-old Alan Olson of Clitheroe left Highway 210 near Fergus Falls yesterday, went over an approach and then ended up in a field. He is expected to be okay. A Montana man is being held without bail in North Dakota jail after being convicted of 45 felony counts of promoting a sexual performance by a minor and possessing prohibited materials. Drew Noble of Libby, Montana, hid a camera in a bathroom in Williston and took pictures of a teenager. Police say he had large quantities of child sexual abuse materials on his electronic devices. The North Dakota Supreme Court is denying an appeal by a man convicted of killing 2 people, including a Grand Forks police officer. Solomon Pendleton is charged with killing Officer Cody Holte in May of 2020. Pendleton's mother was also shot and killed during a shootout with police that day. He is serving time for murder, attempted murder, terrorizing, and reckless endangerment. Pendleton argued his constitutional right to a public trial was violated and that he was convicted of a non-cognizable offense.
The former police chief of Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, is now suing city officials, alleging they forced him to resign for not immediately firing Officer Kim Potter, who shot and killed Dante Wright during a traffic stop in 2021. Tim Gannon claims the city manager gave him the opportunity to resign in lieu of termination, but did not provide him due process. Gannon says there was racial tension in the emergency council meetings in the days following that shooting and says he was fired because he is white. Gannon is seeking $50,000 for emotional distress and damage to his reputation. Former officer Kim Potter is serving 2 years in prison for killing Wright. She says she intended to subdue Wright with her taser, but then accidentally pulled out her gun and shot it. Wright was stopped for an outstanding warrant and was shot when struggling with officers. We now know the location in Moorhead for the new home of the Red River Women's Clinic. It is moving to 302 Highway 75 North. Abortion will remain legal in Minnesota, but it will be illegal at the end of this month in North Dakota because of a trigger law tied to the U.S. Supreme Court's overturning of Roe v. Wade. North Dakota's abortion ban is set to take effect on August 26. A lawsuit is now headed to trial for the family of a young girl who took her life at a Fargo, North Dakota Boys and Girls Ranch in 2018. The family of 12-year-old Aliana Robertson is suing the ranch as well as 2 staff members individually on counts of amendment violations, civil rights violations, and liability. The complaint alleges that Robertson made previous suicide attempts before arriving at the ranch and that she was deemed high risk for suicidal tendencies by professionals at the ranch. But despite that, staff members allowed Robertson to go into a bathroom alone the night that she died. The complaint says ranch staff displayed pointed indifference and made no effort to find out what she brought into that bathroom with her, and they knew about a suicide note that she had left on her bed. Minnesota agriculture officials are asking people to be on the lookout for an invasive moth species that has been found in the state now for the first time. The purple carrot seed moth feeds on plants in the carrot family. That includes dill, fennel, and coriander. Someone in Stillwater found the insect on their dill plants, and then a few days later, another one was found in the city of Montgomery. The bugs feed on the plant's flowers and they create webbing, which can then render the herbs unusable. If you see one, you need to contact the Minnesota Department of Agriculture. Switching gears, a popular accessory trend has hit North Dakota, even making a stop in Fargo. The Valley Today's Jillian Trudeau joins us live in studio to explain what that new hot jewelry item is. Good morning, Jillian.
Good morning, Jordan. Thank you. Permanent jewelry has been a popular concept recently, and now there's a jeweler who has started the business here in North Dakota. Her name is Chelsea Katiter. Photographer Bree Bolin and I went to her pop-up shop last week to see what it was all about. Chelsea has been making permanent jewelry at pop-up events for 2 months now. What it is, instead of a traditional clasp, a small welding tool binds the chain together. The jewelry is intended to stay on until broken or cut off. She now has more than a dozen chains to offer, and she says each one allows a personal story to be told. If you missed her the first time, Katiter will be back in Fargo on August 26th for another pop-up event. But Jordan, those time slots are filling up fast, so people should really head out there.
All right, Jillian Trudeau in studio this morning. Thank you very much. We now want to get a heads up for drivers out there. There's another closure on I-94. It's eastbound. It's from 34th Street to the 52nd exit. It's through Saturday. Another round of closure will begin next week. That's in both directions near the Moorhead Airport exit. The Today Show and CBS Mornings are just about to start, but the Valley Today rolls on. Otherwise, have a happy Friday. Stay safe. We'll see you here with Ashlyn Hill Monday morning.